We stopped for coffee in a town that barely had a name. Just a diner, a gas station, an old wooden post office. The kind of place where every truck was coated in salt and the snow never seemed to melt on the way. It was me, Ty, and Derek. 3 guys with overpriced gear, too much optimism, and a dumb plan to catch the world's most famous cryptid on tape. Ty and Derek were the showmen, naturally. Matching GoPros, matching bean boots, and a YouTube channel called Hunt the Unseen. I think I might have been the only one who actually believed. Bigfoot wasn't a joke to me. I'd read the books, studied the cases, interviewed someone who said she'd spotted him in the Idaho woods and still couldn't sleep without a nightlight. So yeah, I believed. We were about to hit the trail when the diner owner came out front holding a rusted tin. "Take this," he said, "for protection." It was a tin of coarse salt. Ty laughed. "You got slugs up here or something?" The man didn't blink, just said, "Some things in these woods you can't outrun." Derek nodded skeptically and tossed the box in his pack. The first day was uneventful. Boots crunching over ice. We didn't see another soul. Ty kept scanning the tree line for movement, muttering things like, "That's a classic sign. Broken branches, right?" Derek did a 5-minute vlog about how the air smelled like mystery. We made camp near a half-frozen lake just before sundown. Ty and Derek grabbed beers and wandered down to the water. I stayed back, zipped up in my tent, earbuds in, listening to an audiobook about regional Sasquatch sightings. I must have drifted off mid-chapter, because when I woke, sunlight was streaming through the nylon. I sat up, stretched, unzipped the tent, and found the campsite empty. Nothing but birds chirping and ice dripping from the pines. "Ty?" I called. "Derek?" No answer. I walked down toward the lake, thinking they must be there, nursing hangovers with mugs of coffee. The water was still. The sun hit it just right, blinding me. I raised a hand to shield my eyes, and that's when I saw it. Not just blood. Pools of it. Spattered across rocks, staining the snow a deep red. Shreds of fabric. Ty's jacket, maybe. Or tangled in a broken branch. And then I saw them. What was left of them. Not bodies, pieces. Ripped apart like rag dolls. Limbs scattered in the snow. One arm bent backward in an impossible angle. Fingers curling around nothing. Faces, or what should have been. A wild animal couldn't have done this. Something had torn them open. Bone exposed, rib cages cracked wide. I fell to my knees, unable to think. That's when I saw Derek's phone, wedged between rocks near the waterline. I ran to it, picked it up. Screen cracked, but functional. I knew Derek's passcode, and I wish I didn't. The camera app was open, so I tapped on the most recent video. They took it last night beside the fire. Derek and Ty grinning into the lens. "Bigfoot night 1, Derek said. "We're out here, baby." Ty launched into a recap of our first day on the trail when a noise stopped him. He turned the camera toward the trees. "You hear that?" Another low rustle off screen. Then came the shriek. Not human. Not even close. High and long and hollow. Ty's face dropped. Silence for a moment. And then suddenly the phone dropped, tumbling hard before landing sideways on the rocks. Derek and Ty were out of frame. Their shouting was sharp, panicked, cut off in seconds. Then came the sounds. Wet, brutal, unmistakable. Flesh tearing, fast, precise. I couldn't make sense of it. In the firelight, something appeared in the frame. A white, elongated face. Skin stretched to the bone. Almost human. Like it had once been human. No lips. Almost as if they had been chewed off. Just rows of 2 long teeth and tiny, bottomless black eyes. My body went cold. I grabbed the phone and I ran. My breath in clouds, my boots slipping on the ice. I left everything, tent, equipment, pack. Certain whatever had done this to my friends was still out there. I burst into the diner just before dark, panting, bleeding, eyes wide. They're gone. Something killed them, ripped them apart. It wasn't... What was that thing? We need to send people. Please. The owner watched me from behind the counter, unflinching. He stayed quiet, then nodded, slow. That was a dead spirit you saw, he said. A Chinu, cannibal kind. Starves even when it feeds. The salt, I said, remembering his warning. You said it would protect us. You have to use it. I just stood there, shaking, still clutching the phone. The man sighed as he wiped down the counter. They're gone. Whatever was out there got what it came for. He met my eyes. You can't go back. Not ever. All you can do now is let him go. Or else that thing and this place will never leave you. I told the authorities what they needed to hear. In the end, they blamed a bear. Easier that way. Cleaner. But the truth isn't clean, and there are things out there that no police report can explain. One thing I know for sure. I'll always believe.
Well, that was creepy.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
No, I'm a believer.
So the Chinu was one, a creature I had never heard of before this.
No, definitely not.
No,
you
I
actually were the first one to find it.
I mean, what a creep show.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And I think, Deena, it was you that said that just the way they describe it, it's almost like a White Walker from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but it almost sounds like the White Walkers are friendlier.
Yep, I would say so. I would say so.
I mean, at least those, because I definitely was a huge Game of Thrones fan until that final season. You could destroy them, right? You throw something on and shatter it into a million pieces. And you're like, cool, great, done. I don't know. This one had a lot of layers to it based on the folklore of these tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The fact that it was so cannibalistic, it would eat its own lips.
And its own flesh. And I know when we were doing research on it, it said that these people were once human.
Yeah.
And the inside of them and their hearts were frozen. And the salt, if you can get it around you, it helps protect you from them, of course. But also if you can get it, down their throat and into their mouth?
To get it into their body.
Into their bodies, it would help melt their heart and then they would become the person that they were.
Yeah. I also read, though, if you throw salt at them, it stuns them. It kind of makes them freeze for a second. So it gives you a chance to get away.
If you threw salt at me, I'd be a little stunned.
Right? Especially in the face. It gets in your eyes and stuff. It burns.
Hard pass.
Well, it also, so I'm again going to bring it back to the why, right? What's the moral of this story? What were these tribes trying to get across based on this tale, based on this creature? What is it that they were trying to warn people about? And it makes you think, who had the heart of ice, right? Who was supposed to be this symbol? And I have to wonder when this story first, was hatched. Was it when colonizers first came over that this was supposed to be symbolic of somebody changing into what their world was becoming, or was it something else? I don't know. Were they looking at this as, because cannibalism in itself, we've brought this up so many times recently now.
Yeah.
And cannibalism has such taboo in so many cultures, including our own.
Of course.
And so, of course, I started to kind of dive into that. And really, it's a dehumanization, right? If you turn to cannibalism, you're kind of, you're reverting back to these animalistic ways, right? Because humans don't eat their own, animals eat their own, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, what are we all becoming? Are we succumbing to the greed and the horrible ways of what?
Well, we talked about it a little bit, but like, this is an Algonquin folklore, right? So this,
Right.
like we talked about a little bit off before we started recording, like this is not our tale to know and or to tell. And we actually, if you listen to our Chris Packard interview, he speaks about that, right? He speaks on this and how the Chenoo is their folklore. And we've taken it, and like you just said, we took it and we whitewashed it, as we do all native language and folklore. We steal it from them and
Gave it a new name.
give it a name, and how can we capitalize this, and how can we make money off of this. And the actual Chenoo stories that are the stories that we read, actual sacred text that I read, they're the Micmac tribe, they really go deep into this, and this is not just a story of a creature. These were people. And it's just, yes, you're fearing them, but at the heart of this is a person
that could become a person again.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting twist to the legend, which ours does not have.
Yeah.
They wanted to, they took this story and this, quote unquote evil creature because of how creepy it looked, and they made it a horror story, right?
Sure.
They were like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Okay. But yeah, that original story of these tribes.
And I've also seen it called the Kiwakwa.
It had several names. Yeah. But it's because these tribes were so connected to the land, right?
Absolutely.
Connected to nature. And I think that's where having somebody that has roots within the culture would be amazing to speak to. And we've been looking out in the world, trying to reach out to several to maybe like hear some of these original origin stories and connections that really kind of tie the tale really back to the land and what the original tale was supposed to be telling.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And because I've seen it also is like called the Ice Beast. We've talked about this before. We kind of turned it into a Wendigo just from, shitty storytelling over the years. And
which makes me hate that I love it.
Hate that you love what?
The Wendigo.
Oh, you do love the Wendigo.
That I was like, I didn't know that that's where it came from, and then I hate myself for reading, the things you learn.
I know, but you know what? Just the Chenoo itself, like whether this is what the story started as or what it became. I'm sorry. They literally call it the Maine's White Walker, but just the visual of it is horrific.
Yeah.
Like horrific.
So do you think it's scarier looking? And again, we're just talking looks. We're not talking about the story itself.
Yes.
Than the skinwalker that we talked about in Colorado.
Yes, I do.
Oh, there wasn't even a pause there.
I almost think because like the skinwalker just takes the body, right, and puts it on and wears his skin. Whereas like this creature rips its prey to shreds and devours it.
It's something about the fact that it was a person, and it is a redeemable person, right? Like this person can redeem themselves.
Yeah.
But was a person eating the flesh of a person.
And is there a part or a point, I should say, that it's too far gone? Like, does it get to a point where it can't come back from, like if you've...
In the one article I read that it was very rare that they would be turned back into a human being.
Yeah.
Human being. Are you kidding me? Human being. But usually once a person's transformed, they will die as a Chenoo.
Well, because can you imagine like having, like, say you knew the person that became this creature, right? And you're like the only one that knows that you can change it back. But obviously a creature that looks like this and that's coming at you to eat you, because it's not going to stop itself. You have to stop it. So how do you get the salt in them to change them back? And then once they change back, do they live or do they die?
Well, here's the thing. This is just from what I've understood listening to it, but you can become a Chenoo by two ways. Either you become possessed by an eldritch spirit, causing their body to grow and change, or they commit a particularly nasty taboo, which literally freezes their heart and causes their body to become corrupted, and then they become the Chenoo in a process. And And then the taboo could be, the example here is they could be withholding nourishment from starving people. The second taboo, obviously cannibalism, which is a reoccurring theme in the legends of several of the Algonquin stories,
And I
especially
think-
the Wendigo.
And I think that, again, brings it back to the land, right? Especially in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the climate. Think about, the winters that once were. Maybe not so much anymore, thanks global warming. But, I can't even imagine what those winters used to be like.
Yeah.
And they're huge. They're supposed to be like giants.
Yeah. And we also talked about, with the solstice, right? During the winter months, right? You had to do all this farming and blah, 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 getting ready for this dark time of year.
Yeah.
Right. And if you didn't prepare properly, you starved.
Right.
So what was the alternative? Cannibalism during this time? I'd hate to think that, but maybe. I kind of seems like it could have been. And that was the taboo, right? And that was the result, I guess. And maybe that was the warning, right? You need to make sure you're preparing properly so that this doesn't happen, because look what the result could be.
So true.
Interesting. And I think that that really, as I'm sitting here staring at like the state of Maine, right? Again, we had mentioned like, why is Maine creepier than we thought it would be? And no offense, we all love Maine. We were talking before, like I would move to Maine. I really would.
Well, Deena wants to move to Maine. Dayelle wants to be on the water in Maine.
Yeah.
And I want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda's down to visit. I really would. It seems like absolutely like the communities there just totally my type. Totally my type.
You've said that. She said that too, right?
Yeah.
Dayelle said that as
Agreed.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think based on where we grew up, I think there are a lot of commonalities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree.
But there are 700 mountains. Did you know that? In Maine. 700 mountains that reach over 1,000 feet. The highest point is Mount, I hope I don't say this wrong, Katahdin, which is 5,268 feet tall.
If there's two people that will not correct you on how you're saying it.
How to pronounce words.
Yeah. I don't think it's a hike that I'm going to take tomorrow, but maybe one day. The majority of it, though, is mountainous range, or it's coastal, right? They have
How
both.
many islands does Maine have?
What was it, like 91?
It was insane how many it had.
So yeah, and I was like getting ready. I was making my bullet points on all the things of Maine, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit them with the history of Maine. You ready? Is that a good segue?
We're ready.
Or do you want to
Ready.
keep talking about the Chenu?
No,
No.
it's terrifying. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to circle back because we're going to have to talk
Circle
about the
back.
Wendigo as well anyway. But it's the largest of the New England states, right? Which it's like, yeah, look at a map. Duh. No, but let's just point that out. But it's the least populated out of all of them. So think about that. A little oxymoronic, right? It was admitted into the Union March 15th. So close to your birthday, Amanda.
So close.
Right? 23rd state, capital is Augusta, which we're going to talk about Augusta later because it's a creep show. That's a place that we're going to visit, but I'm not going to put down roots there.
No, I don't recommend that.
Don't.
So you both have stories about this creep show place.
Yeah.
I don't have any stories, but I read some stories.
Okay.
So,
I
yeah.
did a double take when I realized it was the capital. I was like, that is unfortunate. And the Algonquin people called this area the land of the frozen ground.
Well, they're not wrong.
Oh, that's
They're not
really
wrong.
cool.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
Well, it made me, again, do a double take because I was like, I hate winter.
You know, this all just makes me think of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't just shoot up there. Probably would have made a lot more sense.
Because winter is coming, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. And then like the White Walkers and that's the image I have in my head right now.
Well, more than 4/5 of this state are covered in forest.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I mean, I'm not going to go into like, people have measured it, right? Like if you measure it straight, or if you do like all the crooks and crannies of it all, and I'm like, yo, I'm blessed
Trust you.
Bless
I trust
for
you.
taking that time. But I can see all the green on there. And yeah, that. And so because of the land, right, you can't build on this, which God bless it, you know, it's going to stay pure. But that's probably why all these creatures have called it home, right? Because
Yeah,
They're
but
safe.
I was
This
gonna
is a
say,
safe space.
Yeah, and it's so lush. Like the forests are so thick and green and like
That's the callback to the Colorado mountains, right? Like we talk
Yeah.
about how some of those mountains are completely, there's nothing there.
Mhm.
And people haven't even been able to hike all of those areas. And I feel like Maine is very
Best part.
similar in that way.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. And I think also with the bleak weather, and I don't want, I guess I maybe don't want to call it bleak, but I'm sure it's not sunny all the time, from probably about like late October to maybe about now, like April,
Yeah.
May, it's probably got its winter time.
Yeah.
It reminds me of going to school in upstate New York.
Yeah, I just had
Yeah.
6 inches of snow
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago.
Reminds me of going to college in Cortland.
Yeah, that's up there.
Yeah, that I was just like, oh my God, we see the sun in June
Yep.
after graduation.
Yeah.
Like, but think about the look, I already went to call them monsters. They're not monsters. These are actual animals.
The monster.
monsters.
But we got to talk about moose for a minute.
Ooh.
Till the day I die should be called meese. More than one.
Mooses,
called meese.
meese, whatever.
If a goose, singular is goose.
Geese, yeah.
Or,
And plural is geese.
A mouse is one mouse and two is two mice.
I don't understand. Why can't we?
English.
Tell me about the Mises.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I was just thinking about all the animals that are up there, which, again, back to Chris Packard's wonderful book, we got the opportunity to interview him. But when I was looking at all those creatures, come on. Again, my skeptic's coming out that I'm like, yes, these are clearly animals, right? Honorable mention being there's one called a specter moose. I'm like, or a moose.
Shut it.
Okay, I'm sorry. But there's black bears, lynx,
Okay,
Bobcats.
to tie
Coyotes.
that into exactly what we were talking about, there was one creature in the book called the
have a what's it? No, I'm just kidding.
cellophane,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of ties into the Chino because he lets out a scream to distract his prey.
Is it a big animal or
It's
a
like
little
a
animal?
bobcat.
Oh, okay.
Or like a
lynx.
lynx.
Yeah.
So
the ears I'm looking at.
is it
No.
a lynx?
Yes, it is. It's
But
probably
it's-
just a regular animal.
It says it has a scream like yowl, and it seems to come at you from all directions.
Yeah, because it echoes. Sorry, guys. This is where I'm putting my foot down.
But here's the thing. A lot of these creatures, we talked about this in our last episode, right? So
You're like, Deena, we talked about this.
no, but here's the thing. Is like, I don't disparage the fact that these probably are the root of these animals. But it's very similar to the fact that like certain fish had legs and then they didn't need their legs anymore. So
sorry.
they got rid of their legs.
Fish had legs.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Some of these creatures, most Native American belief, they have such a strong tie to these animals that they could communicate with them. Maybe these animals have lost that ability because people have stopped communicating with them. We pushed out the people that they could communicate. They're not where they should be. And we've taken away the people that can communicate with them. And, like, I would love to believe that it's just an animal.
Probably one that you would have cuddled with at one point.
100%.
But if we have sea creatures that we've never seen, and if we had dinosaurs,
That's what I'm just saying. It's like maybe the fact that, yes, these animals have become these animals that we know today, but let's bring it back to something fictionalized, right? Like very Chronicles of Narnia. When they say like, how come I can talk to you? Well, you've always been able to talk to us, but in your world, people have lost and forgotten the way to talk to us. And I feel like the Native American people or indigenous people, they were our connection to nature and to animals. And we, as the colonizers, we are not open to that. We treated them as witchcraft and all these things that was dangerous because we didn't know what it was.
yeah, and they lived amongst the animals.
Yeah,
we came in and were like,
exactly.
Right.
kill them all.
We thought it was a primitive thing.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm not disparaging the fact that it could be an animal or these animals have just become what we know as animals because we have no idea how to communicate them, how to respect whatever the folklore is around them.
Valid.
Now I'd like to bring in the Chino. Chino, please. Mr. Chino, if you will.
Sir.
He walks in a suit and tie, no lips.
He's entered the room.
Just dripping wet.
Well, tying it back to those colonizers, who were they? Right?
Shitheads.
Well, we wouldn't be here, unfortunately.
Say, our shitty ancestors is who it is.
Yes. Right. And who were they? What I found interesting was, so we have obviously the Brits that came over. We have Scottish. We have Irish Protestant immigrants that are coming into Maine. We have the French descent, right? Some that eventually went into Canada, the Quebec, Nova Scotia area. But others that eventually made their way down to Louisiana and became the Cajuns that we already talked about in
our New Orleans
episode, which I loved. I was like,
tie-in and Outlander.
Yes. I mean, clearly. Duh. But I just love when everything like ties itself together. That I'm like, oh my God, connect in history.
You are a nerd.
I am. But to me, that just is like the perfect pieces of the puzzle, like fitting together for me, that I'm like, oh, the dates are starting to make sense. Things are starting to, yay. But anywho, that's pretty much it. The French Huguenots were there. German settlers were there. There even was like this little bit of a Swedish settlement going on there. And so we have all of that kind of overlapping with the indigenous culture and unfortunately meshing that folklore together.
Well, this kind of leads to what I'm going to talk about.
I'm excited.
Because our boy, Paul Bunyan, he half hail from Maine.
He sure did.
But what is Paul Bunyan based on, right? So this is a fictional story.
I made sure I did not reread it because I am so excited for you to retell the tale.
I'm going to give you a little nuances of him. So Paul Bunyan himself, a tale we've known, right? But have you ever heard of our boy? I know you have because you sent it to me. Tall Barney. Okay. So Tall Barney was a real person. Barna Beale lived from 1835 to 1899, lived his entire life on Beale's Island, and he died when he was 64. So stories of him are that he would sit in a chair. His arms were so long, he could rest his knuckles on the floor, could carry a barrel of flour under each arm. People say that he was a giant. But let's be very honest. He was just a very tall man.
At that time,
very tall man.
That must have been wild.
Men average height at that time were 5'7". This man was 7 foot tall.
That is insane.
Just imagine being a man and being like, what am I supposed to do with this? My wife ogles him every time he walks by.
Well, I mean, everybody did.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
But
where did he find shoes?
He made them himself. He was a very, very sweet man too. He was a big old gentle giant.
Aww,
yes.
I'm sure he was.
So he was a real person. He went by Barney Beale, lived during the 19th century in Jonesport, which is a small coastal town on down East Maine, and he lived on Beale's Island. But he people still celebrate him. They're obsessed with him.
I love that.
So Jonesport it's a fishing village. So being as strong as he was like a godsend. Because he could help with the ships coming in. He could pull them out of high tide. He was so strong that it was just like, anything that had to be done. You think about a lot of this stuff, the Industrial Revolution, all these things that created these machines that you don't even think about. He was their machine. He did all of these things for him. So he was also jacked beyond belief, which of course you are, because if everyone's making you lift barrels, that would take 3 grown men and you've just got it under your arm. Like,
is he helping? Is he helping with lumber too? I would assume.
Yes, of course he is.
I just think of the guy that does the axe videos that he just chops.
Thorin Bradley, shout out.
Yeah.
Okay. So he spent most of his life working at sea, fishing, hauling cargo, helping to rig and launch ships. When he worked in the woods during logging season, he could move enormous logs, basically whole trees without machinery. And he one time carried a whole ship mass down to the dock by himself.
Maybe he was of Viking descent. Because there was speculation that the first people to kind of touch down in Maine were actually Vikings. Yeah.
And there are stories of giants in Maine leading to all these tales. But
they were at least tall ones.
Listen to this one. This is such a good visual.
I don't think Ragnar was 5'7". I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's okay. So there's tales of him. This is a real story. He would pull boats ashore with ropes tied around his waist, literally dragging them onto the beach.
We do that now in CrossFit. No.
Yeah, we sure do.
But are we talking? We're not talking a rowboat. We're talking a ship.
Like a sloop.
Yeah.
So he was very, very soft-spoken, very polite. He never used his strength aggressively, never got into fights. He was just like a big
gentle
old sweet
giant.
baby. He's like a Newfoundland dog.
Please tell me he gets married.
Of course he does. He has 12 children.
Yes.
12.
Are they also tall?
The brood was insane. Yeah, and he said that they said like you would think children would be afraid of him. No, because he was such a sweet, gentle giant. He used to carry little kids on his shoulders, like two at a time.
He was a circus ride.
He was adorable, and he used to he would help other people with stranded animals, pull carts out of the mud.
Oh, he got
report
cats out of
standards.
trees.
He did. He died in 1899. Womp womp. But he is still buried in Jonesport.
Beals Village Cemetery.
But they said that he is more known not just because of his size, but because of how kind he was, which I really like. But here's the thing. You've got this real guy. And you do have stories of giants in Maine. I think a lot of it, like you said, comes from the Viking folklore and the people that came over and the Algonquin tribes and moreover than that, the Wabanaki tribe. So it's 5 different tribes. Okay. Our boy Paul Bunyan, fictional character.
Okay.
So they say. Is he based off of this? Is this?
That's where I thought you were going with that.
Well, it's not proven yes or no, but a little lore of Paul Bunyan. So he was born in northeastern Maine. His mom and his dad were so shocked when he was first born because he was so large at birth that 5 large birds had to carry him to his parents, as the legend goes.
Oh.
So imagine a stork being like, you've got to take that.
Not of woman born, huh?
Yeah. So when he was only a few weeks old, he weighed more than 45 kilograms. Sorry, this is United States. I have no idea. He was always hungry, and his parents needed 10 cows a day to supply milk for his meals. And before long, he would eat 50 eggs and 10 containers of potatoes every day. So his parents didn't know what to do with him because he got so big.
That would be so expensive today.
Can you imagine?
Wait, 10 containers of potatoes?
We don't know what the container is.
Potato salad?
It's probably a whole ship that he pulled out of the thing.
Like potato salad?
Yeah, I think they were just having good
potatoes
old-fashioned
are
barbecue.
usually they're in the ground and then
Maybe they put them in like a little
a
crate.
satchel.
And
10
how
of
many
them.
eggs?
50 eggs
A day.
a day.
Wow.
Dude, that family would never survive.
They would be so screwed.
They better have their own chickens.
So screwed. So his parents didn't know what to do with him because he was huge. And the first time he rolled over, he rolled so much that he caused an earthquake. And the people in the town were pissed. So the government told his mom and dad, you're going to have to move this creature somewhere else. So his dad built him a wooden crate, a traditional bed for a baby back then, used like a little cradle, like a rudimentary cradle.
Okay, not like a box.
Well, he's enormous. So they put the cradle in the water along the coast of Maine. But every time Paul rolled over, the waves would crash all over the coastal town, just, causing tsunamis.
They need
You guys don't believe this?
They need to crate train him.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll work on that. Okay, so and then the town was pissed about that. They're like, no, you got to get him out of here. So where did they bring this poor boy? To the woods. So this is where he would grow up, in the woods. Into the woods. Paul helped his father cut down trees. He had the strength of many men, and he was very, very fast, which also is giving me Edward running in the trees, Twilight. Like, imagine, like...
Or Discovery of Witches, the hunt scene.
Yes.
Still haven't watched that. But I mean, if he's so if he's so big, he really only has to take like 3 steps, and he's probably like across the state of Maine.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there. Okay, so back to our boy. He's very fast. He lives in the trees with his father, and he could turn off the light and jump into his own bed before the room got dark. Yeah, because one stride for him is the whole house.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote this story is trash. Okay, so one day it started to snow, and the snow covered the house and the complete forest. So the snow was really weird because it was blue, and the blue snow kept falling and falling and falling until the forest was covered. So our boy Paul put his snowshoes on and went out to see why there was blue snow falling, and he discovered an animal stuck in the blue snow.
Okay, I thought that was where this is going because I was hoping that.
And it was a baby ox. So him being a ginormous man picks up this little baby ox, carries it around like little kitty cat, and he takes it home. He put him near the fireplace because he was cold, and the ox got warmer, but his hair remained blue. So he decided to keep his little blue ox, and he named him Babe. So Babe the Blue Ox. That's where that comes from.
Okay, I thought his name was Blue. That's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I remembered the blue.
So one night, Paul left him in a small building with other animals, and the next morning, the barn was gone, and so was Babe. And he looked everywhere for his boy Babe. And then he found Babe eating some grass in the valley, and the barn was still on top of his back.
Oh God, I thought he ate the animals.
Oh, because he was so tiny, but he was actually not tiny.
He was not tiny. He was very
humongous.
big for our boy, so he just took the whole thing with him.
See, I went another
This
way.
is all very believable, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then every time Paul looked at him, he just kept growing taller and taller, and Babe just followed Paul around everywhere. So much of North America at that time was filled with very thick forests, as they still are. But Paul Bunyan could clear large wooded areas with a single stroke of his big, long axe. He also taught Babe to help with his work, and he was very, very useful. And he decided to tie one end of, this is hilarious, Babe would help him create roads. So he would tie one end of the road to what remained of a tree in the ground, and Paul would tie the other end to Babe, and Babe would dig his feet in and pull out all the trees along the roads to make them straight. So all of Maine has Babe and Paul Bunyan to thank for making straight roads, just so you know.
Got it.
The
How do you
highwaymen,
tie something
useless.
to the road.
Why don't you ask Babe?
Okay.
Okay. So then in time, Paul and Babe, they left Maine and they moved west to look for other forests because they had cleared this one out enough. And he went to, well, let's be honest here. He went out west and found a guy and some axemen. This is where the story gets a little less believable. One of the axemen's name was Elmer.
Bud?
And, you know, it's going to add, there's a man who cooked for the group called Sourdough Sam. This is where it really starts to unravel.
The creativity is just wild.
It just gets a little bit more insane. But the whole story of Paul Bunyan in Maine is that he is to thank for building the roads.
Okay.
He lived in the forest. All the spots that are cleared out, that was clearly Paul Bunyan.
Totally.
Was it Paul Bunyan?
Yes.
Well, I don't. Is he?
Yep.
Is he real? Is he based off a real person? Is he based off of Paul Barney?
Listen, that's what I think.
I mean, it
He's
would have
gotta
to be. It's got to be.
Even
Did they
if
just mush them together.
here's the thing,
Yeah, I mean,
even
a
if
legend-
Paul Barney's ancestors lived in the mountains, well, I think his whole family lived on that island. But still, they had to go to the forest for foraging and all those types of things. But maybe because they say there's giant sightings in Maine, I think it's just the Beale family.
I would agree because I mean, a legend has some sort of fact
Tie,
it's
yeah.
based off of. I mean,
Agreed.
King Arthur and Camelot isn't technically, it's a legend. It's not, there weren't knights, they didn't really actually sit at a round table. I'm sorry, Dayelle.
Yes, they did. So,
the sword wasn't actually in the stone. I'm sorry.
also what people think as well, all these big giant sightings in Maine could be our boy,
Could also be
Bigfoot.
We love
everywhere.
You here. Yeah.
He's everywhere. So I actually found this book that I read, and it's called,
But wait, can I just say also
Yes.
that we can see Bigfoot living here.
Mhm.
We can see it.
like, if I had to pick a place
Yeah.
for him,
Mhm.
if another version of him is in the Midwest,
Mhm.
Northwest, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But like East Coast Bigfoot, who probably curses, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's probably, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Eastfoot,
He's-
he lives in Maine.
He's got that New England accent.
100% he lives in
Yeah,
Maine. And
1,000%.
yeah,
Yeah.
Agreed. Like they're like his brother
he's drinking
maybe.
Duncan.
Oh right, and then his cousin the Yeti is drinking Coors Light. Yeah, clearly.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Right, and then maybe he had like an out with a brother or something, and he's the one that moved to like Washington State.
Yes.
Or
yes.
sister.
Oh, girl. Okay, so this book is called Bigfoot in Maine. It was written by Michelle Isolier.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, a beautiful name. So she really goes into these sightings of Bigfoot. Could they have been apes and monkeys that were brought over on ships? Because if you remember back then, animal trade, exotic animal trade,
Yeah.
that was happening a lot. From
People had like pet monkeys, just always.
always to have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
some of it could have been that, right? So that people have, maybe what you're seeing is a larger animal in the woods. But she does interview quite a few people that have some firsthand accounts. And I mean, sightings of him go all the way back to the early 1800s in Maine. Way before that. And especially if we're going to talk about the Wabanaki tribes, they all have a version and a story of it. And in every one, and which something that we kind of hit home, he is not a predator.
Fair.
He is not someone to be messed with, but he will not bother you if you do not bother him.
Well, I think it goes back to, not even going back to, I shouldn't even have said that. I think it connects to just what we know about like animals like bears in general.
Yes.
Don't bother them. They won't bother you. I mean, they're territorial creatures. So why can't a Bigfoot be real and be a territorial creature?
Yeah.
If I see it, I'm not going to go up and start poking it with a stick.
Yeah.
Because if I did that, I would expect it to kill me.
Right. They're survivalists. They do what they have to do to survive. If they have to eat the human that decided to crawl into their hiding place.
Right.
They're going to eat the human.
I mean, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Just think about the story. You're in her home, their home.
Absolutely.
You're eating their porridge.
Exactly. You're sleeping in their bed.
Yeah. What do you expect to happen? Goldilocks did not survive that story. I'm
No,
sorry.
she
I think
didn't.
that's crap.
Neither did Little
She
Red
should not
Riding
have.
Hood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the wolf ate the grandma.
Yeah, and then her.
Yeah. That huntsman,
100%.
whatever.
Yeah, that shit did not happen. Okay, so this story is a woman named Susie that she interviewed, and this happened in Kennebec County circa 1963 to 70. So she said she usually does these interviews via phone or email, but this woman, Susie, was like, no, I'd like you to interview me in person. And this is after she was interviewed for this show called a half-hour documentary called Hairy Man, My Life with Bigfoot.
Stop. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Hairy Man, My Life with Bigfoot.
So Hairy Man,
My Life with Bigfoot. Yes. So I'm not going to tell the whole story. It's very long. But this is January 2018. So she goes down to meet Susie, and she wasn't able to get permission to record the interview. So a lot of this, she was like taking notes. So Susie says that she was probably 5 or 6 years old the first time she felt like there was something watching her. So her family lived in a very rural setting, and they only had 2 or 3 year-round residences in this area. Their house was set back far from the road overlooking a lake. And during one of the cocktail parties her mom was hosting, her mom would keep an eye on her through the window while hostessing, and Susie felt like something was watching her while she was playing alone. And one night she caught a glimpse of something hairy and large in the woods, and then it was gone. Later, she saw it again, and when she did see it, she said it was about 7 feet tall with long hands standing on the edge of the woods watching her. She did not feel threatened at all. The hairy man, or Wabu as she called it, kept its distance at first, and they developed a communication system involving calls, knocks, and grunts so that she could tell him when she was outside. Time went by, and the Wabu brought his mate and their child, about Susie's own size, to visit. She remembers wading through the lake during the summer. About age 9 or 10, she was often unattended, and sometimes the Wabu would wade in with her. He noticed that she couldn't swim yet, so he once nudged her into the water, and when she dunked her head, the next thing she knew, she was being pulled up. Everything happened so fast. He put me on top of his shoulders and then threw me into the water and was looking at me going like this. And in the video interview, she mimics paddling with her arms and said, I just started doing that and ended up coming back up towards him. I didn't go under. I managed to keep my head above water and then went back over to him. And I crawled on top of his shoulders again and then would lunge forward. I'd fall off, and that's how I learned to swim. Susie then mentioned this to her mom, who told her to stop making up stories, which obviously. And so because of her mom's reaction, she never told anyone else, assuming she would not be believed. So her husband of many years had only heard the tiniest inkling of the story until she told the story on camera while he sat not nearby. I'm assuming Susie is obviously much later in life, by the way that this is going. So she said that she didn't want to raise the topic with her stepfather and her mother back then because she didn't really have a good relationship with her stepfather, and she was afraid that if she told him this, because he drank a lot, that he would scare off the Wabu. And she said, one night my stepfather got drunk and I was outside playing. It was pretty near dark. He came over and grabbed me and said, I told you to get in the house now. All of a sudden I heard a loud bang and there was a tree limb that hit the side of the house. You could hear a window break. It hit the back door with such force and broke the door. He dropped me where I stood and I ran and stumbled over himself to get back in the house, and he just left me out there. And there he was, the hairy man. He just looked over at me and grunted. And she believes that the Wabu was telling her stepfather to back off and not hurt her. And she theorizes that most people encounter a male Bigfoot who are more protective and territorial from her experience, and the ones in charge of traveling and foraging for food are the ones that are often met out on the grounds. She said by the time she was 12, her and her mom moved houses following a violent blowout with her stepfather, and there was only enough time to pack and load them into the car the next morning. They had to flee while he remained drunkenly passed out. So her last contact with the Wabu was the night before when she fled into the woods for his comfort during the height of the altercation. She said that the Wabu never saw her like this, and gripped by fear and tear and emotions boiling over, his female mate held her and rocked her back and forth, distressed with how sad she was. The Wabu reacted by picking things up from the ground and throwing them with how angry he was toward the house. Not knowing what else to do, they embraced Susie to comfort her. Early the next morning, she slipped back inside without realizing it was her last chance to say goodbye to her adoptive and caring family. So then it goes on to talk about how Susie talks about their eating habits. And in the video, she mentions that they would eat hornpout, which are like catfish or brown bullheads. And they would eat sunfish out of the lake, and that they loved lake algae. But local camp owners treated the lakes with bleach or other poisons to clear the water. And each spring, when the process of each lake was, quote unquote, flipped, anything from the bottom of the lake was good eating, including freshwater clams and dead fish. It says that when she went to go visit the location recently with author Linda Godfrey, they talked about the current owner of the house who wondered about the stacks of emptied clam shells he regularly found on the lake shore. I know, I love that. And then she said that their hair changed with the seasons. In the summer, it was lighter and a brownish red, deepening more towards a mahogany color in the winter, with fine long hair growing longest between their neck and the head, and that their eyes are not round. They're more oval, like the human eye tends to be. And she doesn't recall seeing the whites of their eyes, just the darkness under their brows.
I just want to know if she could have compared it to Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Maybe she said that their skin was darker and more pigmented, unlike her very Caucasian skin tone, and that the heel, sole, and sides of their feet are free of hair. And they appear to be very flat-footed with no noticeable arch, and their hands are very large with long fingers, and they're tall but not outlandishly so. She said that him and his mate were about 6 to 7 feet tall.
That's a little outlandish.
Yeah, I know. But if you can watch this video, it's LCTV. It's a video interview by a guy named Mr. Hillsmeyer who interviews her. And he asks Susie at the very end of it if she wants to give any final remarks. And she says that people ought to not fear them. Their life should be represented like any other life. I think humans need to back off on the notion that they need to shoot one to gain fame. It may not be human life, but it is a life. That's really cute. Also, a lot of things could have happened there, right? Like this little girl clearly had a horrific home life. She could have just been finding solace in the imagination. But I like the story of the taking care of her.
Yeah.
I don't see how that, I mean, sure, could it have been imaginary? Absolutely. But it could have also very much been real.
Yeah. I mean,
that sounded very similarly to some of the movies that I've seen and how they react.
Very true.
So that's our boy Bigfoot in Maine.
That's so cute.
We're going to find him one day.
I just want to high five him.
No,
I don't want to bother him.
I know.
Or just wave at him.
I don't think I want to find him.
I had
give him a book.
I had heard a story one time, and I don't remember who told me, and it was like probably when I was younger, so I was very impressionable. I'm still pretty impressionable. But it was about someone that went camping, and they heard this sound in the woods, and when they went to investigate, they found a very large, tall, hairy man. And the hairy man like came at them, and of course they were afraid, and they kind of like didn't know what was happening. And he grabbed onto the person's arms and brought this man with him, and it was to another hairy, smaller, hairier looking like female, and then a hairy child stuck in a bear trap. And it went to find help. And brought the man who just happened to have like, camp tools or whatever with him. And he used his tool to open the bear trap and let the little baby child animal well, he said hairy humans, and like the big one hugged him and they went on their way. Like super, can you imagine going camping and have that happen? Like where you're like pulled away by this, you hear a sound, then you go into the woods and you discover this man and he brings you to his, what I'm assuming, husband and wife,
survivalist families,
and like left him and that was it.
Yeah. I could see it happening.
I like it.
That was also like a story to say, like, don't go wandering in the woods because you might step on bear traps.
Yep.
That's why we were told the story. But I was like, but who were the hairy people?
Oh, that's just people out of straight.
Exactly.
That's just Marty.
I just don't think I'd want to meet a Bigfoot because there's not a lot known about them. Like, we don't know what could get them angry. We don't know what could set them off or, get them riled up or anything like that. And I don't want to be the one to find out. I don't want to be the one to test it. Even if, and again, I'm going to say, like that, the movies and things like that, they put things into your head. Sure. Whether they're real or not, who knows? But you're going to have that in your mind, right? So I don't like, what if you were to see that, in your yards away from this thing? Great. But what if it's fast? What if it is ape-like and it could swing from the trees and it knows how to get to you so quickly that you trying to get away is pointless? No, I'm good. Thanks. I don't even want to be like, oh, well, I can get inside super quickly because that thing could be so strong that door is like a piece of paper.
See, this is why you try to dispel all the theories, because all I could think was like, oh my God, I just want to lay down and cuddle with him.
No.
His hair's probably so soft.
It's probably matted. Yeah.
I'll brush him.
Okay. Okay. You're not coming to Maine anymore.
I can't wait to get attacked by a bear.
Well, you know what? You know what else is potentially was, I should say, because you made a point that they brought over possible animals.
Yes.
You know what else possibly came over through all of this colonization with the French? The loup-garou.
I love that name.
Well, it is almost exactly like the rougarou that we saw in New Orleans. And I mean, so similar to the point that I found the story to be almost identical, that it connected to this Christian guilt that the French Canadians had, that was almost like the moral of the story, that you would turn into one if you were guilty of not being a good Christian. People who did not confess during Easter could be cursed to turn into one. The spell would last for 101 days. Remember that one?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. So it's very similar to that, and not the traditional werewolf story where you have to be bit, goes by the moon, stuff like that. So I thought, and I believe that we've read this several times, like that these things kind of came over in the boats. And I was like, that is kind of creepy if you think about it, that it wasn't here and these people brought it over.
Okay. Not to get up on my creepy little soapbox here, but like, how many people, let's just take folklore for what it is. What we know of folklore, this Americanized trash version that we've given it. A lot of these creatures are human as well, right? So this loup-garou that came over could be like, okay, I've got, a couple days till my transformation starts or whatever it is. I'm going to get on the ship to the U.S. or something happens when they dock and, they come over. But a lot of these creatures present as human as well. So how do we know?
Well, they say in this legend that the smell might be broken if someone recognized the individual while transformed and could draw blood from the animal. So, like, if Dayelle, you turn into a loup-garou, and I look at you, and I'm like, bitch, that's Dayelle. And I somehow get some of your blood, I could save you. And then, you don't have to wait the 101 days.
It's like, Dayelle, don't freak out. I'm just going to slice your face open. I swear it's to save you.
Just a little prick. It's just real quick.
That's what she said.
But neither person could speak of this incident for fear of worse reprisals. That's what it says. And that's where I got a little confused, that I was like, okay, so I can know, but we can't talk about it.
Is it one of those things where, like, would you turn into the Lipperoo if you
Sure. I don't know.
helped the other one not be?
I don't know.
Also, once you get the blood,
Maybe.
then what happens?
You're free.
Just so all you have to do is draw the blood, and then that's it.
Yeah,
Poof.
but my thing is like, are you bloodthirsty then? Like, are you going to
Oh.
attack me if I try and help you? You know, because is this, again, it's telling me that I could save you. Great.
Mhm.
But are you going to let me? Because it says that you retain your human intelligence, your memory, your sense of self
Mhm.
while you've transformed. So I was thinking, like, what if, to your point, Amanda,
Yes.
you knew you were this thing. You
Yes.
got on the ship to come over, right? You had two choices, right? To stay where you were because you knew what you were and you didn't want to spread that. But what if you loved what you were turning into,
That would be me, bro.
right? I
Oh,
mean,
man.
so many of these stories make it sound like the person didn't want to be that, but there
Yeah.
are several stories where the people like
Look at
who
our
they
Comte
become.
Saint Germain, man. That guy loved being a vampire.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but what about, okay, so like with the Rougarou, right? You could get rid of the curse by giving it to someone else.
Sure.
So is it the same kind of thing?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I got a couple people right now I could
But what if people
pass that shit right
I mean,
off.
but what if they like it? What if they like it enough and they form these packs? Yeah. I was going to say
Also,
clans. I was like,
maybe
that's
they
not the
get
Yeah.
together and then, well, if they're Scottish Rougaroos, maybe they're
they're
clans.
French.
The clansmen. They came over. Prince
So is
Bonnie
that-
Charlie.
The Louharou?
But if they like, they're like, we need to stop this, and it ends with us, so
Mhm.
we all just die
Mhm.
together.
Or just wait the 101 days and just let it ride out.
Oh,
What happens at the end of
right.
it?
Is
Curse
that-
is broken.
I think you just turn back, right? Because it really was
If you
just to
haven't
scare you to
killed anybody, right?
to confess your sins.
If you haven't done
They
anything?
just wanted you to be a good Catholic, Christian, whatever.
I'm so screwed.
I mean, it's Lent, right? It's during Lent.
No,
Mm.
well, Easter's over. Lent's done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus has risen.
Mm-hmm.
R-I-Z-Z-E-N.
It's such a short mention. I had to say, like, oh yeah, they're there, and that's really like the whole story. But I had to tell you the funniest thing I found out about this.
I'm
Okay.
ready.
I don't think you are.
Okay.
Did you know there was a French opera named The Loup-Garou?
When did this run? Is it an option now?
No, it is not. I know, but maybe we can bring it back.
I want to bring it back.
19th century comedic opera.
Just missed it.
In
Woo, so close.
one act, okay, in French, with music by Louis Bertin and a libretto by Eugene Scribe
It
and
was
somebody else. These
a
are very French names. I'm
a
sorry.
musical?
And it's an opera.
Oh, duh.
It's an opera. So the work is a comedy inspired by the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast.
Ah.
And Amanda, again, came out
Wait.
right by your birthday. It was first performed on March 10th, 1827 in Paris.
So let's go to the stones
Mhm.
that Claire goes through.
Mhm.
Okay. We will go back to that
Yeah.
for my rager for my 40th in 2 years.
Yeah.
I just could not believe. I was like, please stop. This was a thing. So you want to hear the synopsis?
Obviously.
I mean, I did just kind of say that it was inspired by Beauty and the Beast, but the synopsis is: in a village in Burgundy in the 15th century, Alice's guardian, Ramabaud, has arranged for her to marry the falconer Bertrand. Ramabaud works for the Comte Alberic, who has been exiled by the king until he finds a woman who loves him for himself and not his title and wealth. Alice confides to her friend, Catherine, that she does not love Bertrand, but instead loves a stranger who saved her from drowning in the woods. Alice knows the stranger as Hubert. Sorry.
all right.
Catherine, a young noblewoman who loves Bertrand, wants Alice to break the engagement. Bertrand, who is superstitious, believes the wolf terrorizing the village is actually a werewolf. When 13 arrive for dinner, I thought that was so...
Of course, it's
The
13.
number.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When 13 arrived for dinner, which also was brought up with the Rougarou, right? Because
Mhm.
13 stones or whatever it was. Bertrand is spooked by the number. Catherine goes to find another to join them and returns with Hubert. Rambald recognizes Hubert is really Alberic. Bertrand thinks Hubert is the werewolf. Alice becomes convinced of this too and rejects Hubert. Catherine then agrees to marry him. Bertrand tells Alice he was enamored with Catherine, but felt he was beneath her station.
I'm sorry. Is this the retelling of ACOTAR, the first book? Is this Tamlin's story?
Tampon? Is that you? Tampon.
I mean, Tamlin, Hubert, I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Nobody's pumped to be screaming Hubert in bed.
No.
Oh, Hubert.
Even abbreviated.
Yeah. Hugh. Bert. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hubert, if you're listening.
Stop.
We love you.
Oh, yeah, you can't recover from
There's
that
some
one.
girl who just started matched with someone on Hinge listening to this right now, and she was like, God damn it, they're right. I can't bang Hubert. Son of a bitch. Great.
Tell me that wasn't amazing, though.
That was a perfect story.
To stumble on that one, I was like, I don't even care. That's my new folklore right there. I want to see this opera.
Well, next up on our now that we've talked about our bestie, let's talk about Deena's fave.
The Wendigo. Like, I don't know how to come back from the Loop Guru to the Wendigo now. It was not an opera, but it was an episode of Supernatural.
It sure was.
It was.
Dean?
Well, I mean, Wendigo, Bigfoot, Chino. Who are we most afraid of now?
I think
I mean, definitely not Bigfoot.
Straight up terrified of the Chino.
Mm.
I'm torn between the Chino and the
Skinwalker?
and the Wendigo.
Wendigo?
Okay,
Yeah.
so thinking of the differences here. So the Wendigo, I don't know. Like
We don't
70
go. We do go.
I mean, there's a million different ways you can pronounce it, and all are correct, apparently. Picture a huge, emaciated giant, insatiable desire for human flesh. Again, ravenous cannibal.
So it's basically a warmed up version of the Chino.
Yes, I don't think they have the same kind of the heart thing.
Okay.
I don't think that's involved.
And the Wendigos they were once human and they did something bad to be turned into, right?
Yeah.
A Wendigo.
Yeah.
I remember you saying that in Colorado.
They kill somebody or something happens where they then become the Wendigo.
Couple things with this guy here. So a tribe's village will often be having trouble feeding itself due to the scarcity of game or other things. And the Wendigo will use a wide repertoire of tricks from vanishing the meat off of still living game to mimicking the face or voice of a hunter to lure prey away from home where it will eat or possess them, causing them to go Wendigo.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's creepy. Oh. Dad's like, well.
I got so scared.
So usually the Wendigo is defeated by destroying its icy heart. So actually it has adopted some of that Chinu qualities, I guess, depending on which story you read.
Mm-hmm.
So the death of the Wendigo signals the end of starvation and in some cases the end of winter and the coming of summer. So I think the original telling of this, which I think the first documentation was in like 1920. I believe
the Americanized version.
Americanized version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Algernon Blackwood, I believe was his name, was the first one to like put pen to paper with it. Was trying to keep kind of the original lore with that, what am I trying to say? The solstice kind of storytelling to it, you know, the cannibalism, the starvation, things like that, that tabooed even with the indigenous tribes, but trying to make it look more like a trickster and making it more horrific, right?
Yeah, this is why
Instilling
I really
fear. I think I want to say.
I really, if you are an indigenous person listening to this podcast, we would love to have you on. I would really, if you're comfortable with that, because we do recognize, again, these are not our stories to tell. But I would just love to hear how that story is told. You know, there's, I think I'd mentioned before on this podcast, growing up, my grandmother was told, she was very Cherokee. So my mom wanted to make sure that we were very, you know, we had knowledge of our culture. And so we'd go to all these events and stuff and learn about it. And the best storytelling I've ever heard in my life were from these Cherokee people. Like, they would just sit you down, and the way that they tell the stories, it's not like they're reciting something that they've memorized. It's like it feels like they're sharing a piece of them. Like, it's part of them. And I would just love to hear somebody's tale that, you know, that they've been told as a child. And this is, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I would just really love to hear a firsthand account, because again, all this crap that we find online has been so whitewashed and like you're saying, that, you know, the more intense versions of the Wendigo story, that's probably more accurate, but we were probably like, oh, that's too scary for kids. So let's just make it a little bit easier to digest.
Well, they also wanted it to be something that Europeans could understand versus something that made sense from the indigenous culture, right? So they took it onto more of like a werewolf styled creature, because they already understood that. They already feared that. That was already a story that they were telling, that people were familiar with. So now they could pair up similarities with that. And like I said, blend it together and adopt it. And then that's how eventually later on, we also started seeing that within pop culture, right? Stephen King had a Wendigo in Pet Sematary, right? Pet Sematary, right, in itself was the cemetery that was on ancient Indian burial ground here in Maine, with the Micmac tribe being specifically mentioned. There was also a movie, they said Cabin Fever, but I feel like I've seen Cabin Fever and I don't remember that being in that movie. I thought Cabin Fever was about like a disease.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've seen it.
So I don't remember that one, but that might have been maybe like a what are those things, like creepypasta kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but one thing that I did read about that I thought was really interesting is something called Wendigo. Look at me.
Look at you.
My Dean's showing. Wendigo psychosis.
I did see this. I saw a story about this on Reddit. Yeah.
Really wild. Yeah. There was like an entire article, which with Cabin Fever mentioned as well. With people literally fearing becoming cannibalistic, fearing turning into this, and it became an actual psychosis. So in this New England region, people believed in similar creatures, although they didn't call them Wendigos. It was all of these things. Chinus, Gawaka, the other one that Amanda mentioned earlier that I'm going to just pass. These, again, same kind of creatures that they were like terrified they would turn into. And I was just like, I can't believe this is an actual psychological issue that we are now explaining away, I guess.
But it makes sense because
a mental illness.
Because the idea of cabin fever, we did that in our Colorado story. The one Colorado story is like, that's a real thing that happened in these long winters. And it makes sense that you're so afraid of becoming a Wendigo because these winters food was so scarce. It was like, am I going to be drawn to absolute psychosis and become a cannibal? Like, is that where this winter is going to lead me? So I can see it's, just extreme fear, I would guess.
Yeah.
Well, also just, I feel like a lot of this stuff also was created to, kind of encourage people to work really hard throughout the year to get ready for winters. So they're preparing the whole time for these long winters.
That's intense to develop a psychosis from it.
Yeah,
though.
but if you think about like the time that these stories are being told, it's not like they have TV or other things. Like they're probably hearing these stories all the time. Like it's just being recycled, like over and over and over again. Like it's all they're living, breathing, and doing to prepare for the winters.
Mm-hmm.
So creepy because it's again, I would love to hear like what the real story is before we bastardized it, but there's a definite, I don't know, I can believe it. Like I can believe that somebody can do something so awful that the version of them that still exists or is on this earth is so horrific.
Yeah.
That I think I like, if I'm going to choose, I like the Chinu version a little bit better just because you can come back from that, where it seems like with the Wendigo version, you gone.
That's it.
Well, if you had such an extreme case of this psychosis, to a point, they could kill you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
could
because
kill
if you think you are.
Yeah. Also, exactly. Like if you're like, I'm already destined to do this, you're gonna do it.
Mhm.
And then you do become a Wendigo. That's what happened.
What?
Da-da. Because you're so worried you're gonna become a cannibal, and you're like, I already know that this is my path.
Yeah.
And then you do it.
It
And
kind
then
of
you
breaks
do
your-
become a
break-
Wendigo.
You break your brain a little bit, I think. I think.
I would break my brain.
Could you guys eat human?
No.
Could I eat
Could you do
human?
it? Could you do it?
No.
So if it was the three of us stranded in the forest of Maine and we had no food for
My thighs are going to be prime eating. Well, let me tell you, these thunder thighs are good for something.
no, I don't think I could do it.
I would give of myself.
Me too. I'd be
I
like, you know
couldn't do
what,
it.
guys?
We're all gonna do that though, and then we're all just gonna sit there.
Wait, I think we talked about this in the Colorado episode too.
Mm-mm.
But it's like a
I'm just gonna put logic here because let's say
you can get so sick from it. That's what people don't realize. Like
that's correct. Yeah.
people that actually engage in cannibalism, which
I was
it
actually
is
reading
real.
about the disease.
it is real, but
Mm-hmm.
you can get a disease from it
Yeah.
because of the bacteria that lives within human flesh.
Yeah.
It's disgusting if you think about what our meat goes through before we actually eat it.
Also, we're not gonna cook the meat.
True.
You
just
wouldn't?
eating good old raw.
Raw dog, you wouldn't just get a nice fire going, throw a little salt on me.
What-
I mean, if
I
I'm
would
that
assume you couldn't.
desperate,
Yeah.
there's probably a reason I'm eating you.
You're raw
True.
dogging it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I would at least hope that you'd cook me up. I think I'd be better
So
cooked.
I'll just bring a little like vinegar to kind of like cook it with the vinegar.
Mm,
Where are you
like-
getting vinegar from?
apple cider vinegar.
Like you packed that?
Yeah.
Like it's in the cabin.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
in
like,
there.
I never go anywhere without my apple cider vinegar.
It cures everything.
First off, I'm also picturing us in a cabin. We probably wouldn't even. We'd be in like tents. It'd be freezing.
in a cave
No.
somewhere.
Are we witches?
I don't know.
Yes.
We got lost, okay, guys?
Yeah.
All
But
right.
I'm just gonna put the logic to that if the three of us were stranded somewhere and it would come to that, like the first person who would pass, like they would already be like, like rigor mortis would be setting in. You'd be decaying by the time that like any of us would be starving to the point of even thinking about eating you, and you'd be well past the eaten phase of life. So no, I would not be eating you.
I'd eat bugs.
I'd eat some bugs. I'd get down on some bugs,
Yeah.
but they're not plentiful in the winter.
No, they're not.
Oh,
Bark. I just eat some bark.
Willow bark.
Yeah.
I think after all of my Spartan races and stuff like that, I've thought about this. I would walk to the point of exhaustion.
I wasn't
Mhm.
sure where you were going with that. I was thinking after all of my Spartan races, my butt would be delicious. So toy.
No, because like after doing some of those, and you push yourself, and you like telling you when I did the beast for the first time, which is the half-mile one, I was like, I'm gonna die
Yeah.
doing this.
Mhm.
They're never gonna find me, and I can't believe I paid
I knew where you
to
were.
do this.
I knew where you were. I would have
I
found
know.
your body.
But I was just like, I remember like as I was walking at this point, and crying, and I was like, I can't believe my
You said
body's-
half mile. That is not what it is, by the way, folks.
Did I say half mile?
You said half mile.
Oh, no, half marathon.
Half marathon. I
Yeah.
was like, she said half mile. People should know there's 26 of those half miles.
I couldn't believe my body was still moving, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe I'm making my body still move. So I think if I was like stranded somewhere, I would just be walking until I could not walk any further.
As long as I had
Mhm.
water and a couple bugs, I'd be good.
Oh no, I didn't have water. That was
But
that was before I actually knew what I was doing.
okay.
Yeah. Now I run with a camelback.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Now I know what that is.
We need water.
yeah.
folks.
The cramping was
Hydration.
the cramping was real. No one warned me. You know, you do your first one really blind.
But you did it.
But I did it.
And it was so fun.
I would not use that word, but yes.
All right. Well, for creatures,
I'm really glad Dayelle's gonna like
she's going to bring us back
change
to
the vibe right
bring
now.
us back to happiness.
Yes.
Well,
End on
am
a
I,
positive
though?
note. Are you?
Am
I don't
I?
know.
She doesn't look like she's going to anymore. Never
Am
mind.
I?
She looks like she set us up for failure.
I had a lot of fun with this because I obviously love this topic. So I'm going to talk about fairies.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. And these are
Can-
not the glittery Disney Tinkerbells.
No.
These are not. We're not going to talk about Tinkerbell.
I wonder if a Wendigo would eat a fairy.
I don't think they could catch it.
Valid
Ooh.
point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I found really cool was that for Maine specifically, a lot of fairy lore has come from, or it's deeply tied to old Celtic and indigenous beliefs. And they've kind of blended together, which I found really cool because Outlander.
And we're back.
And the other fun thing that I found about fairies is that fairies, pretty much anywhere in Maine that feels untouched, kind of like the very thick, lush forest lands, that seems to be where fairies are. But they also enjoy a good rocky shore, tidal pools,
Ooh.
and foggy meadows. So you can find a good amount of fairies in the foggy meadows.
Okay, so not coastal or coastal.
I think it's a mix.
Oh, okay.
I think
These
it's
are-
a mix.
Okay.
Woodland fairies.
Yeah, these
I only
are-
ask because I wouldn't find the coastal.
Here's the
ones.
thing. I think that they go where they feel like going.
You do you, boo boo.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of cool. There have been several sightings of fairies throughout the years, but the hot spots, and I'm just going to list now just for fun because if you're going to Maine, it'd be fun to go to these. Arcadia National Park. There's a literal trail called Fairy Head Trail. And it's like a twisting path that goes through the deep forest. And
Did Paul Bunyan miss that one?
He's
along the
so lazy.
Well, or maybe he had friends that were fairies. and,
No,
like,
I just meant the
helped him.
road. If it's twisting, you missed that
Oh,
one.
fair. But it goes along the coastal cliffs as well.
Oh.
You can find fairies there. Monaghan Island. It's an old. There's a bunch of old fishing villages with really thick woods. That's another place that people have seen fairies. Baxter State Park. And then the woods around Regally and Bethel are also okay, are also full of fairies. And then another thing that I thought was interesting is you can also find them in old cemeteries, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Why is that?
And stone circles.
oh, well, we
Oh,
get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I wonder why cemeteries.
I'm guessing if it's
They're just like,
foggy, maybe. I don't know. And if you're like a fairy hunter, they say that you can look.
Is that a job?
Yeah, apparently there's people that
Add that to the list.
Mhm.
I am in.
And the way you can discover where they are is if you find a toadstool or mushroom circle, perfect circle in the woods. There's actual like photos of these that
I saw
are-
photos of like the little fairy houses people
yes,
build.
yes, that's a huge thing. It's become like a huge thing in Maine, especially.
We always did that when I was little.
yeah, that's
I
a
didn't
big
know
deal.
that was a thing.
But those are like the cute little fairies. We're gonna talk about just fairies as a whole.
I want to know
and-
about their personalities.
Okay, so here's the thing. Especially in Christopher Packard's book, fairies are like little tricksters. They're not evil, but they can be dangerous, and they are very territorial. And they
Seems to
don't
be a trend.
they don't like when their stuff is messed with. And if you do mess with their stuff, you're gonna disappear.
Oh,
And so
I didn't expect that.
Me either.
I know. I have a really fun story.
I just, like, in my mind, I'm like, that little thing is going to make my whole thing disappear? Or is it like a gang of them?
I don't.
So,
We'll find out.
But then I also just thought of True Blood.
Mhm.
She was a fairy.
Mhm.
She was part fairy.
Exactly. So here's the thing.
You didn't watch it. Yeah.
It says fairies can be dangerous if they feel like they've been disrespected, especially in Maine folklore. But they also, there's a ton of fairies in Irish and Scottish folklore.
Mhm.
Obviously, Outlander. And their big thing is they really love misleading travelers, especially around dusk or in the fog. People have gotten lost for hours, even days, in areas that they knew very well. And when they're finally, like, they find their way back, they don't realize that several days have passed. And it's believed that they actually go to a different realm. The fairies literally pull them into their realm, which I didn't know about this. So here's a little story. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Okay, this story is it's about a little girl.
Fairy
Sh-
or girl?
a little girl. A
Human
little
girl. Human.
A human girl, sorry. And this story is called The Lost Girl of Cutler Woods. And this is a stretch of forest near Cutler, Maine, and it's not far from the Fairy Head Trail. Okay.
Add that to the list.
I was just gonna say I want to go to there.
Yeah.
I guess that because it rains a lot, there's a lot of fog that rolls through, and it can get very, very thick, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. So even on the clearest days, locals know better than to wander these trails after dusk. One evening, a girl named Ellie, she is a little bit of a stubborn person, and she decides that she wants to go for a little walk. She's 16 also. I don't know if that's super important to the story, but she is walking home after she went for a little walk to her neighbor's house. And she decides after she's done playing with her friends that she's going to walk home. And she takes the trail.
The road less traveled.
And she very soon feels like something eerie. The fog is settling in. And suddenly she feels like something is wrapping around her ankles, like fingers.
Oh no.
She kept walking because she didn't really understand what's happening. She thought maybe it was just the fog. And she knows the woods, so she didn't think anything of it. Very soon after this starts happening, the trail vanishes. The trees start to shift and the world goes quiet.
That's always bad.
When things are silent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's not a good sign.
It's not good.
Then she saw it, a perfect ring of mushrooms, glowing slightly in the center of a black stone, so smooth it almost looked wet. Maybe out of curiosity, maybe something pulled at her, whispering beneath her thoughts. Ellie stepped into the ring, and the moment she did, everything changed. The trees leaned toward her, the light dimmed, twisted. Tiny figures darted in the shadows, just out of sight, laughing, whispering her name in voices that weren't quite human. She ran. She screamed for help, but the forest swallowed her voice. When she stumbled out of the woods at sunrise, barefoot, wide-eyed, her parents barely recognized her. Ellie wouldn't speak about what happened. She wouldn't set foot outside after dark, wouldn't touch anything made of iron. She only ate milk and honey. And at night, if you pressed your ear to her bedroom door, you could hear her whispering, but it wasn't in English anymore. Some folks say that the fairies kept the real Ellie and sent something hollow in her place. Others say she's still out there, somewhere between the woods, trapped in that endless twilight. And the part that no one talks about, every so often hikers swear by it, if you walk the Fairy Head Trail, when the mist is thick, you'll see a girl at the edge of the woods, standing barefoot in a ring of mushrooms, hair dripping wet like she just crawled out of another world. And
don't like that.
If you call out to her, if you try to help her, if you step even 1 foot into the ring, you'll never come back either. Because the woods don't give you back. Not whole, not ever.
Ooh.
I don't know. That just like really surprised me because basically she gets taken. And I think it kind of ties into the whole changeling, fairies taking
That's
the
what
real.
I kept thinking of, the babies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I was like, ooh. Now I want to do it though.
I do too. I do too.
Like the whole time I was reading about these stories, I was like, this is incredible. And I think too, what's funny is this story is a definite, like, there's a lot of stories like this where people go missing and when they return, they're not the same. They're very hollow. They don't really talk to anybody. But what I think is funny is a lot of the fairies in Maine are known as like these cute little, they look like tiny little humans. And they ride on squirrels and hummingbirds.
That's exactly how I envision them. Yeah.
But
what
I
I
like
wanna
the
envision.
spookier one better.
Did you guys ever hear of the Guardian of the Seeds? This is a real thing. This is not a story. But there is in the Botanical Garden of Maine these enormous hand-carved statues of trolls. Like huge.
Yeah.
We have to check this out. I'm just going to show them. We'll show this on there. Look at these. And they're hand-carved.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, oddly enough, though, when I was looking up stories of giants in Maine, this is what kept popping up. I
Yeah.
was like, I need to read one.
Yeah. I could see fairies living there with them.
Oh, for
yes.
sure.
Yeah.
For
That's what
sure.
reminds me of it.
To me, that's the magical land.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think there's a state park that has like all of that.
Yeah.
We'll find
Well,
out.
maybe
yeah.
Arcadia State Park.
Acadia. I mean, here, listen. At some point, we're going to have to do the Appalachian Mountains and the
Yes.
Appalachian folklore.
Mhm.
But Acadia National Park is part of the Appalachian Trail. So shit has gone down there
Mhm.
for sure. For sure. And I mean, here's the thing. These are just some, if you guys listen to our Chris Packard episode, these are just some of the
Yeah.
creatures of the forest of Maine. Like, we barely touch the surface.
Yeah, there's so many, and their names are incredible.
I said they kind of sound like
Dr.
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
characters. It was like what's it?
Who for
Right?
what's he?
I had to make an honorable mention
Okay, I'm ready.
from that book that there was The Hide Behind.
Yes.
Yes, I know you have the book with you if you want to talk about it, but I liked that guy. He was worth the mention. I liked The Hide Behind, the Spectre Moose, because it really did make me think, like, how did we get through Maine without bringing up the moose, right? And
The Meese.
the Happet bird. Those are my
Yeah.
top 3 that I wanted to give a shout out. But the Happet bird was the one that I think it had like the shorter wing.
Yep.
So it
Yeah.
just like flew in a circle. I was like,
Mhm.
is this serious right now? But it just made me laugh. But the Hide Behind was the one that it literally like hid behind a tree, right?
It does.
Yeah.
There it is, just peeking out.
But it's like, it looks like a donkey.
Yeah, it does. It has like a little, it's blue in this book.
Mhm.
My honorable mention, and I won't talk about it because I think Chris Packard does in his interview when we ask him, like, what's the one he...
Yes.
But he also mentions the Sidehill Gouger,
Mm-hmm.
which it's a fearsome critter of Maine's woods. And it's got uneven legs on either side of its body, and it lives in the mountains. And it literally, he called it in Vermont, they call it the Wampahoofus. And that
There
was
it
just like
is.
my favorite thing he said. I just want to Wampahoofus.
Wait, so
Okay.
because Deena brought this up, I just have to read its little
Yes,
blurb about
please
what
do.
this is, the hide behind.
Hide Behind?
Okay, so it says, have you ever had the feeling that something terrible was following you? And no matter how many times you turned around to check, the feeling wouldn't go away. That's a hide behind. And there's a fearsome creature that only hunts humans. That's a hide behind.
Perfect.
On
Is
that
he
note,
in the shower too? Late at night when I'm...
let's
the toilet?
just hope he's only in the forest of Maine.
Well,
so,
I think a lot of these creatures too were mentioned very similar to your fairies too. Like you could see them out of your peripheral vision, but if you try to look directly for them, right,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see them. So you see them out of the corner. That is something I would believe.
Yeah.
Me too.
You know what I mean? Like, how many times do you think you see something and you go to look and then
Yeah.
it's gone? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that split second moment is what it takes to go hide because it
Fair.
doesn't want
Yeah.
you to see it.
Agreed.
Right? And I'm like, you know what? We're going to probably get to Maine. We're going to be at a state park. We're going to be in the woods. We're going to be doing whatever it is we're doing.
Yeah.
And we're going to catch something out of our peripheral.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, I knew Bigfoot existed.
Yeah.
Stop. I'll cry with happiness and cuddling.
Well, to protect us against fairies, if we're worried about fairies, although
bring
I
iron.
feel like I would be, well, the iron, but also if you just give them a shiny present. So just leave like a little trinket.
Don't tell me that because then bring shiny. Like,
Just
you know,
like crows.
you know how badly I want a murder of crows to be my friend.
I know. So apparently fairies, if you leave them like a sparkly little stone or something, they won't bother you.
I think we should just learn how to befriend all of them.
Yeah.
And then we will be welcome amongst them.
We'll need to make, you know what we should do? We should make a survival kit. It's a Folktown survival kit, and it will have a little bit of everything in it.
13 of everything.
13 of everything.
This
So
is
all you
genius.
do is open it up, and you have all these things that you need. Always 13
Wait, like
of
Buffy
them.
the Vampire Slayer's little murder tools that she'd have. She'd have like her stake and her.
We'll need
I wanted
salt,
to be her.
some
Of
broom,
course you did.
some broom straw. You know, just
Yeah.
to throw at the.
And the fact that she was in love with Angel, perfect.
I know. Well, that wraps up our creature portion.
Yeah, it
Sure
does.
does.
I'm so excited for the.
I'm not going to lie, I'm so excited for the next portion too. Because I am urban legend ready.
All right.
Great.
Well,
Next
wrapping up that one.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.